I think, the perfect way they have to do. 5 seconds left, we're going to be loading into this first map. But this is going to be one hell of a match. Virtuspro versus Sleep to Awake. Now immediately, actually we're going to take a look at the champion lineup. A complete mirror match. Definitely expected to see this. Visor, a fantastic champion, especially paired with Galena. Galena on this map, I mean, the results speak for itself, doesn't it? Yeah, it sure does. Visor just brings so much to the table with sight, being able to set up around corners with rockets or enable your teammate to know, hey, we have a 2v1 at this position. Now we're going to, in typical fashion, I'd like to say we're going to spend a lot of this time watching Claws because he's so good at general combat. But I think there are so many talented players that he is one of many that we could watch. A lot of these guys are kind of walking highlight reels at this point. Yeah, Claws is really something else. Even like knowing him at Quake Live, like I'd say about 3 to 4 years ago, just seeing how good he could potentially be then, and like all of it starting to finally come together for him, is like really a special player. I think we kind of see some of those breakout players as every new Quake comes to be. And I think Claws really is kind of like the ultimate example of a player who really made a name for himself in Quake Champions, but it's also part of him kind of, I think, getting older, getting more experienced. I know he was crafted in the LAN environment like, you know, many of you guys back in the day, and I think Quake Champions in particular is his chance to show that. Yeah. And if you see there, like, you can see the teammates through walls type thing there because of the spectator view. Avec was like at Tribolt fighting, and Cypher immediately with his stack moved from Mega like to go to the jump head to help, even though Avec won the fight. So you see that they're trying to react to each other's calls instantly on when they have a one-on-one. They're doing everything that they can to make sure that this isn't one-on-one, this is actually 2v2, you know? Yeah, absolutely. And Claw's trying to put in the work, but Cypher actually doing a bunch of work there, taking up that 2 frags. Yeah, now this is that situation. So stacked for this power up. I was just about to mention power up right here. That's good. He took a lot of damage, but as long as he like does something meaningful there, it should be fine. Oh, a bit of fun with that. Sorry guys. Worst spectator at you. All right, here we go. Very good. Very good hesitation from Cypher. It's just great game knowledge and battle sense, like knowing that you need to like bait the quad for a sec and then take it, and just rely on your gut instincts that that's going to work out. Now, actually, he's been able to give himself a nice little chunky lead. I think this early in the game against the likes of Sleep to Awake, you can always be happy with, well, it's a lot more than that at this point. 6 frags in the lead in less than 3 minutes. This, you know, normally we kind of see these really slow-paced, methodical games, and while this is definitely methodical, the frags have been racking up pretty frantically. Yeah, that quad run really brought them back. I think it's just the beginning that Sleep to Awake got a favorable start and Claws was going off, so it's just good discipline by Virtuspro to like just keep their heads in the game. They get good position for quad, and they've made the most of it. Actually, I'd like to watch some Claws hit because he is going to be going in for the potential 2v1, but with Cypher committing suicide, doesn't quite make the cut. I think Claws was really confident he could win that fight because of just how much stack he had access to. Avec forced in a very difficult position. Cypher not really shy of collecting those frags regardless. But they're trading pretty well now. They're only down 6, so all this game needs, they just need another protection, and that's coming up here in the next minute, and they should be fine. So in your experience on Blood Run, when do you think is like the optimum time to start actually, I think, securing that power up? I think 20 to 15 seconds beforehand. I'd say like if there's a heavy item coming up around 15 seconds, you kind of really don't ever want to go out for it. If you have like decent guns and position for quad, you just want to stay. Like the amount of damage that you take coming through some of the corridors, the item doesn't make up for it. You take like way too much. So the positioning is what's more important. Whereas like other maps, the positioning for quad isn't as important as it is here on Blood Run. Actually, the complete patience using from Avec, but the totem being used really as kind of like that defense mechanism. Silent Sept survives, but barely. They did a ton of damage. They may make the call to actually set back in here and like fight for this. Okay, well, they didn't get there fast enough. It looks like maybe a split decision, so they just decided to back off. Yeah, it kind of looked like, at least from the X-ray, there was like a slight hesitation on when they were going to go. Silence Up, I think, actually hasn't been able to restack back up. Claws alive, somehow. Following through the teleport, very brave, but Cypher is going to win that fight. Can he get 2? We can't. Claws finish the job. We're going to swatch back over here. He's so weak. He's been so weak for like a minute. But they've been trading really well. You see it now, it's only a 4-frag game. So they've been doing a good job of getting Silence up when they can and minimizing their deaths to Claws, which was really good. And they dealt max damage. I think the only reason you saw the fight there at Tribolt is because Avec was nearby, so Cypher committed because Claws was going up the jump head, so it makes you very vulnerable to damage. And since they could 2v1. And it's actually, I'm really curious as to how these guys are going to be communicating, especially after the power-ups. We're going to quickly jump over and check out Virtuspro's in-game comms.
Heavy up now.
One more there. Okay, weapons.
I took it.
Nice. I railed. And
dropping down rail.
Yeah, I see. I need help on Mega now.
Coming. I'm dropping totem to you soon.
One was on Nailgun, I need this Mega.
Thank you. Got 2 totems before
Yeah,
Mega.
I see. Power up soon as well. One rail. Okay. One spawn on his rail.
Pushing, still pushing.
Maybe now. I'm already
Carrying a
done.
rocket. Rail.
I really liked from those comm setups that even though like it was a panicky situation before Mega's coming up, he made sure that at the end to remember that, hey, I saw the other guy that we weren't fighting, like just in the corner of his eye, like where he was and where he might appear from.
Yeah, I think at this level of play, just the smallest of details, if there's something that needs, I think, talking about, if your teammate doesn't know, I mean, they have to know, right? It just makes their life a lot more easy, especially because now the quad has actually spawned, and it looks like Virtuspro have been able to command it again. I'm going to change over to Avec, who not only has quad damage, but a very impressive stack. And I've got to say, they've been working around, I think Claws in particular, they've been, I think, handling him quite well. He's being quite brave. I think it's not seeing it as much now as it was at the beginning, where I think Claws was really trying to test those 2v1s, and he's just not getting away with it at the moment.
Yeah, they really need to start grouping up a bit more. They have to slow the game down because there is time. Like, honestly, the amount of frags that are in the game right now for the time limit is a lot. They have been fighting non-stop, and they need to realize that what their strategy is, it's not working right now. They have to slow it down and crawl their way back into this map.
And I think that might be one of the strengths here of Virtuspro, because they're so talented in this environment, both incredibly smart players, loads and loads of experience in a tournament environment where these adaptations have to be made. And I actually think that's going to be in Virtuspro's favor in like a small space of time.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you can see it paying off right now with the 11 frag lead with how they're playing. And I think it's just due to they're playing at the same pace, the Sleep to Awake, but they're playing together more. Like, you've seen time and time again that they're getting more 2v1s, and like it's just really hard to win 1v2s with the damage output in Quake Champions.
And even with these crazy fights, so Silent Sep, we always talk about Claws being able to take those 2v1s, but I mean, Silent Sep has had a fair few highlights of his own. But even with that in mind, there's an 11 frag difference now. I was just about to say, Cypher picks up one more, and he's going to be rewarded with that mega health.
Oh, such a dangerous path to take. Okay, well, he's still super stacked, though. Yeah, it should be his fight, and Avek's spawned too close.
I think they might have been less worried taking it because they went up at the same time. Normally a bit of a death sentence, but with the coordination of these guys somehow managing to turn it into their entire favor. And with 20 seconds left to control this power-up room and the heavy, I think this is a good situation for Cypher, but not before this 2v1 takes place. Oh dear!
He must not have heard the jump head. I could have sworn he would have, so that he would have known, like, not to fly into the room there. If they lose the power up here, it's because he kind of went too deep into the room here.
And it actually looks like they might do it.
No,
Silent Sep. Oh, can't survive. Cypher manages to fix the damage. And things just went from bad to worse for Sleep to Awake.
Yeah, normally, like, coming up the LG jump head and stuff like that is not good. Like, you're so vulnerable to nail gun damage, you don't have much room to dodge, but just the way that the spawns worked out and, like, focus targeting on, like, other people, like, you saw multiple times people came up the LG pad and it's, I don't know, it just happened to work out there.
And I think working out, we're seeing more than that right now. 5 frags in Virtuspro. We're going to, I'll say it, dominantly take this first map. We expected this to potentially be close, but I honestly thought that this was going to be... Yeah,
I would give Virtuspro the edge on this map, but like for them to win by this margin potentially is pretty incredible. And they should feel good that, not like to the point where they can feel overconfident, but confident in what they're doing. And that if they just keep playing consistent, they keep communicating, helping each other, that they got a chance to win this series and make it to tomorrow.
And there's some absolutely incredible accuracy coming out of both these guys, and I really feel like these guys are bringing it. One more frag and it's going to be game over. They do. Claws manages to get one, but yeah, Cypher, he's not going to be shy of trying to land some of those miracle rails. Even if he goes down now, Avec should be able to clean up and finish the job. But Sleep to Awake fighting. But I mean, that's a lot of work to avoid any frag at all. And there we go, just like that, Sleep to Awake take number 1.
Yeah, Silent Sep must have died on the other side. So there at the end, like, Sleep to Awake, you kind of know the game is pretty much over. Like, you're trying your best to the end, but they should probably think about, okay, what went wrong? We can't change the fact that we're about to lose this map, pretty much. It's like a 0.01% chance they're going to come back there. So they need to think about, okay, what are we doing incorrectly that we can adjust on the next map? because they're probably going to play the same way since it's being successful for them. So how do we counter what they're doing? And they just need to kind of best Virtuspro at what they're doing and stick together as much as they are. And so hopefully that when they get control, they're the ones that are sticking together and getting 2v1s, and they rack up the kills like that. That's what they need to look forward to going into this next map.
And I think general combat was helping Virtuspro. You know, they were very, very confident with the people they were going to pick out. I actually kind of looked at the end game stats. It was 27-23, very, very even indeed. Many of those fights were 2v1s or 2v2s. They were coming off the better in the exchange of. And I think it just kind of goes to show the coordination between Avec and Cypher in particular. They've actually wanted to play together for quite a while, finally having the chance to with this 2v2. And we're actually already loading into map 2, Blood Covenant. We've actually seen both of these teams look really strong in this map, but I still think that Virtuspro are favored on Blood Covenant. It's a map they don't seem uncomfortable on at all.
Yeah, what I've noticed from scrims is they do a really good job of, like, they understand the spawns to the sense they know when to run with each other, even when they're weak, to catch somebody spawning in the lower part of the map. That's the strength that I saw from them. And the biggest battle is going to be who wins position at what we call catwalk. So it's like where you're looking towards the rocket launcher from the highest point on the map. Who controls that and railgun? So between Claws and Cypher, like Visor is the best champion to kind of hold that area and to run back and forth and figure out where you should go amongst the map. So yeah, I'm excited to watch this.
Well, it's a good thing you are, because we're going into map number 2, wasting no time whatsoever. Champion lineup, it's exactly the same. And, you know, this late in the tournament with, I think, this part of the world, we're expecting to see this meta of champion picks completely.
Yeah, I think Visor just fits Cypher and Claws' playstyle so well with what they bring to the table. And I think whoever your Visor is on your team needs to... Uh-oh, did we...
May have had somewhat of a pause right here. We'll find out what's happening. If it's going to happen, I think happening at the start is probably one of the best times for it, not at the end when everything matters.
Yeah. So, but what I was saying was is who you want your Visor to be on your team.
Oh, God.
You want them to be able to deal a lot of damage. Like, yeah, holy shit at that.
I generally cannot believe he won that.
But he needs to be the guy that communicates the most, because you see so much when you're using your site. There's so much valuable information to give. And I think Cypher, what I've noticed from watching them play here at the LAN compared to seeing them online a few weeks ago when he was streaming, is his communication has stepped up. And that's what you need to when you're playing Visor.
Yeah, I heard during some of the scrims when the Virtuspro boys were playing, it was very much about Avec. That was so
very
stylish.
Good selection. Yeah,
absolutely excellent. But I've heard during the earlier scrims, it was a matter of Avec kind of having to really sort of play around Cypher, making sure that Avec was, in a way, almost like looking after Cypher, making sure that he was always had his back at some point. I don't actually think that's as apparent at the LAN. I think they've actually been a lot more, prepared. They're playing it a lot more methodically. It's not just a matter of I'm going to follow around Cypher and get the job done that way, which is why people weren't really expecting Virtuspro from scrim footage to be, the team that maybe gets grand finals or something. But at this LAN in particular, they're looking just leaps and bounds above what they were beforehand.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think they've come to the balance of understanding that it's okay, you don't have to have Cypher who's playing Visor be the stacked one all the time. But I'll explain later. Let's watch this quad fight here.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 5 seconds. We're going to see what happens. Claws is definitely not in a position to take that quad. I think he's either going to go for Mega or Tactical Suicide.
Yeah, safest was to give it to Galena there and let her go and get the Mega for sure. So he should be calling that they're here. I'm actually surprised that that Claws joined him. I figured Claws would go to shotgun and try to flank. Probably could have allowed Silence Up to, because that fight right there at red was dangerous off the spawn from Avec, but could have allowed him to get those kills much cleaner and keep moving through the map and maybe even get a couple more.
Survives just barely, but it's going to be swiftly returned by Avec. 1 frag difference at this point in time.
Yeah, it looks like what they were aiming to do there is, even though if they were giving up some kills at the end to the quad, they were trying to make sure that quad was weak and wasn't fully stacked for the next cycle of items so that they had a potential to get it back. So they look to give up a few frags in the lead for potential control again.
Now, we're definitely going to be watching some Claws here, especially when there's a jump pad involved. He's going to pick up that very, very, very comfortable double kill. I haven't seen much of Claws from a spectator standpoint because there's always so much going on. He's doing such a good job sort of like flanking in and trying to get those fights. He's not really the one setting them up, but I think we're actually going to be consciously watching him a little bit more throughout this fight. As I've said,
he should catch him. It's going to be a big fight. Yeah, Claws should win. Just not enough health. And what you want to see him do now is go back to this upper green, which he's doing. You want to control the high ground, deny the railgun, just keep figuring out whether you can take fights at a distance or you and your teammate can crash in on them like at medium with both LGs. And like right now he's probably calling, you know, hey, we can't get Mega, we need to give it up, position for the heavy, and then we'll go to quad after that. Now,
with 15 seconds left on this power-up, we're going to go check out Sleep to Awake and see how they manage to take it. So go for comms.
I'm at the hills.
Got it, you are going for you. I survive, yeah. I'm still on rocket.
I see, I'm gonna get Mega.
I'm in middle floor. I'm here on rocket. Heavy up.
Who is me? Take it.
Get up.
Take it. One with you.
I'm here at the middle floor, I think. I'm here on bridge.
Okay.
Now, we've touched on this before, but I think Sleep to Awake, they're very sort of like, I think, methodical with their communication. I've said that's actually quite different to the communication that you guys have with Liquid One.
yeah, theirs is a little bit, like, they communicate pretty well, but they don't say as much. I think the biggest thing to take away from there was Claus's game sense of understanding the weapons he had. He had enough health and armor, and that there are light armors coming up. So you could hear that he was telling Silence Up, no, you need to take the red, like, or the heavy armor. And he went and looked for kills because he knew that he could go do that, and then would probably have called for help if needed. That's one of the things you need. Whoever has protection needs to know, like, how healthy they are, how much can they actually extend fights. And you saw that it was just a flawless run. He picked up so many kills, and they have control again, like, as it's ending. It's like everything that they wanted to have happen happened there.
Yeah, and I think it's good for Sleep to Awake in general because it was a dominant map, number one. To be honest, I think to the surprise of everyone, we knew that Virtuspro were going to look on form, but not so on form. They were going to take a really convincing map of one of the favorites to win the tournament, or at least be in grand finals for sure. Yeah, there's a fight near Mega. Double kill, easily taken up by Virtuspro, but plenty more work to do.
I mean, they've been doing a good job of keeping Rail out of Cypher and Avek's hands. Like, they've been controlling the tempo of the game. And as you can see here, he's about to get 2v1 most likely. Oh, that LG, he should not have won that fight. Like, so let's be honest.
But it comes back to what you said about Claws in general, where you mentioned that you kind of have to show Claws a unique level of respect because he can somehow turn something that's completely disastrous into his favor, like that, which most people can't do.
Yeah, you need the jump. Like, you have to have the jump on the fight in order to win. You will rarely ever beat him if he finds you first.
Well, Silent Sepp took some time out to try and get a stack to make sure he could survive, but Avek actually still manages to find a way. And even though the quad is moments away
go for
disappearing.
Okay, that's so risky. I probably would have, like, if it's mean to hang, I would have told him, don't go for it. There's probably only 2 seconds left on it. Like, especially Avek had picked up Mega, so if somebody just drops down there and they have, even with just machine gun, they could have killed him instantly, even though he had so much health.
I guess sometimes you can assume, like, maybe it was, I don't want to say desperate measures, but because they are so far behind, they might try and make something happen. I guess maybe a couple of frags off the quad will allow it, but I guess those split decisions, right, where there's pros and cons to both, I suppose, but Claws this will be traded 1 for 1. Try and get back to Silent Set. Another 1v1, but fresh off the spawn, Claws is going to appear. I mean, this is very much like the first map, though. This is a rapid map. Look at how many frags have gone down to Sleep and Awake. This is how they like to approach.
Yeah, they're playing so fast right now, and yeah, Cypher, good decision. He knows he can't just rush here. Even if Claus was on heavy with machine gun, he probably would have died to it. So now they just want to, like, finally, it's been like 4 or 5. Oh my goodness. I can't believe Claus even attempted that and got away with it.
It's while he was in the air himself.
Somebody called the police. This man just got away with murder. That's just ridiculous.
But it's going to show that, you know, when Claws comes online, he's just one of, if not the hardest player to outfrag. And here comes another protection. In 5 seconds of Sleep to Awake, get this. I think much like Blood Run, this could be over. Silent Sepp's looking to control it, and he does take it completely unchallenged. Avek does manage to pick up Claws, but I wonder if it's going to be worth it for Silent Sepp to now run completely rampant. He's got tons of health left, even after that totem. And, I mean, those health bubbles are going to make it super reliable for him to get a few more
You should pick up the rocket. Like, having the
was a bit
ability
weird.
to rocket jump while you have protection, like boost yourself into fights is so key. And he's kind of like limited himself. Now he can't even rocket jump up to kill them as time's running out. So that small little decision just costs them potentially 2 to 3 frags to end the game quickly.
Yeah, I know. At this level of play, you see some players, like, you know, if they somewhat miss in the middle of their strafe jump or whatever, a weapon kill, they won't kind of take the extra second to go and collect it because they feel, I'm going to lose a frag, or maybe I'll lose protection time if I don't take it. But I guess that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Cypher in trouble, but Sidestep doesn't want to give up anything unnecessarily. Maintain that control. Claws able to get one more frag. Is he going to get the 2v1? He is indeed. And that's going to be 1 map apiece. Sleep to Awake playing a lot more on that map like we kind of expected them to.
Yeah, I think, and there is the, you know, the signature Claws plays of being able to 2v1 when he shouldn't, like other players shouldn't, you know. That last protection, Avec and Cypher had position, and he went for a crazy 2v1 with LG and just managed to, like, at the way you have to lift somebody like that, people don't understand it. Like, the way you have to lift somebody with LG like that, you have to catch them at the perfect time at the right angle. And the fact that there's 2 people that are going to be shooting at you, and that he managed to kill that, then went up the jump head, which makes you easier to hit, and still managed to put out all that damage and earn the mega and position for power-up. That won them the game right there.
I guess that goes to show why he, you know, he's the Quake World Championship champion of the game. Yeah. That's why last year he was the, I mean, he is the highest paid Quake player now, just from that one event, from both game modes, because of little things like that. I feel like the thing about Quake Champions is, I know, you know, we've been on Twitch now for 2 days for this tournament, and there's the high possibility of people watching this game for the first time or going, oh, there's a new Quake, I didn't know about that, I'll go check it out. You could have like a trial mode, and that scenario of having to catch that angle to like basically 100 to 0 someone, that could be predetermined, it could be a practice format, and it will still take a lot of players a while to actually execute that.
And that's just against one guy, not the fact that there are 2 there.
And there's so much going on, and it's LAN, and you're playing for $50,000. Like, I think it goes to really show, I think, just how I think the pressure to get to these kind of world-class players. Now, our final map is going to be the new map in the recent patch.
My favorite map in the pool right now, by the way.
I think it's a lot of people's favorite map. It's really fun to watch. It's really fun to play. I mean, why do you in particular like Awoken so much?
Just the way that the map flows feels really good. It's a very simple design, but like certain little changes to architecture allow for very unique fights, like the little window by the heavy armor that you can also see to like what we call cubby that goes towards Mega. It's just the way the terrain is built, how it looks, how it feels. It brings a lot of different unique fights that you don't see on other maps, so that's why it probably feels the best and it feels fresh.
Now, there's definitely a lot to play for here, but this being a upper bracket match does mean that whoever loses this map isn't out of the tournament. They're going to have another shot, but I think if you're in this situation and you're 1 map win away from qualifying for tomorrow's games, where the cash is going to start to really line up, obviously they're going to be joining the likes of yourself as well, where the matches are going to get even more ridiculous. Not that this isn't a ridiculous map to begin with, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Out of these 2 teams, who do you like the most? Who do you think's moving on?
If this was another map, I would honestly pick Sleep to Awake, but I think this map allows for Virtuspro's style very well, like of playing together and catching them out.
My god, that was the fastest 2 kills I think I've seen so far. Silent Sep and Claws again. We're going to quickly check the lineups. It's going to be Visor and Galena.
Yep, just going with the standard, what most of Europe thinks are the strongest picks right now, and rightfully so. Both are very strong on this map. Galena being able to provide extra health at the quad area, and the rail, which is the position you kind of want to hold because it's between both items.
Expertly placed rocket there for Claws, and the combo from Silent Sep and Claws as well. Just coordination through and through. This is kind of what you're talking about. You've already got a health bubble down there, and the second Galena can start stacking those totems as well. It becomes a really dangerous place to attack and a good place to defend. And in 2v2, we see a lot of teams just spend the whole map on this side because they've got so many key pickups here.
That's the thing, though. Like as the team that doesn't have control of it, when you're playing against a Galena, you have to try to create as many fights and take the position over. You can't let her build up 2 to 3 totems for the entire team.
Silent Sep just running in and saving the day. Yeah. Claws did such a wonderful job setting both of them up simultaneously. He picked a great angle, which made him kind of hard to hit, knowing that obviously Silent Sep, they must have been coordinating that. They were going to run in and finish the job, and Silent Sep does not want to give up this half of the map. He immediately turns around to fight for it once again, takes out Avec and the totem simultaneously, but not before going down himself. Claws now very stacked indeed, but not before 2 well-placed rockets undo the work.
Yeah, Claws took advantage of the fact that Virtuspro really overextended for that heavy. Like, honestly, just killing Galena and taking the position should have been good enough for them. Like, they should have known to, like, okay, we can't drop on him on claws with LG and Rail. We should just fight and hold position, and one of us should get mega health. And they kind of threw that opportunity away.
Well, Virtuspro currently sitting on quad, but there's a
Must
lot...
be using sight with the shot that he hit there.
That was so predetermined, but there's so much of this left. He's managed to
All
get
up to
one
Cypher.
frag.
Oh, he doesn't have anything but Rail. He needed to hit more.
And even if he got one of the frags there with Rail being a 2v1, he was dead. Even if he got one of those frags.
Totally. And now Sleep to Awake is really looking good to, honestly, even though it's this early, maybe potentially pull away enough. If they get like 6 to 7 frags here in the last 15 seconds of it, then they might be able to swing the momentum and like win the match already.
Oh my god! Not only was that
out.
2 LGs, but one of them with quad. Disgusting. But no, I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, I feel like so much is being almost like foreshadowed here with how much frags they're racking up, how quickly they're managing to do it. The fact they so easily took that first power up. You wonder if this continues the way it does, this could be a relatively quick map.
Yeah, I think even though Virtuspro have been sticking together, like I said, a few times they've overextended for... They're looking for too much. Like, just take the little wins that you can get and then force them into even worse positions later on and catch them then. But they've been trying way too hard, I think, to constantly get them off of Rail. And I don't know, maybe they just feel they need to do more than what they're doing, and really they just need to simplify the game down a bit.
But unfortunately, as it takes them this time to figure out what they need to do and what adaptations need to be made, if they're getting constantly hunted down by Sleep to Awake, then I think it's just going to make their life so much harder. By the time they finally figure out what adaptations they need to do, too much damage might have already been done. We've only just gone past the 3-minute mark, to be honest, and over 20 frags for Sleep to Awake. This is a different pace entirely from what we've been seeing, not only in this match, but the whole weekend.
Is Avex stacked or not? That's the question. He's okay. So for them, they need to give up mega health, don't go, and they need to stay at the quad position. Okay. Yeah, he's got a good stack here. They have good position. Even if he takes a lot of damage, that's fine.
It's a really advantageous position if you can catch that jump pad. That's a free LG or a free rail. This should be a very easy double. I know Claws has just spawned, but he himself obviously now being really, really reserved.
RJ in. It's actually very good.
Oh my
RJ
god, the rockets from Claws! This man is absolutely insane. Come on now,
It just makes
Rapper.
me think if I could aim like that, what would it be like for me?
Oh, don't we all? Don't we all? I mean, yeah, definitely. But as you can see now, actually, should be following the power up, actually. There we go, sorry. I literally missed half the power up. Sorry, guys, I suck.
Oh, he's going to catch a free kill here. Yep. Then you want to lay the totem. Just can't really take it out since the totems are now protected by protection as well in this patch. So he should probably pick up some more damage here or a kill in the next few seconds off another spawn.
All right, so after this fight takes place, we're going to really see Cypher does manage to win that fight versus Claws, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Weak.
A very good decision to go low. Most people will rush with LG off the first guy that died, they'll get LG and come to this pad. So a very good job of taking the right path to save his stack. He might die here from Claws anyway, but that was good rather than like giving away the small win that they did get.
The issue is that I keep having my eye on that score count, and how when the frags are happening, it's kind of going 1-1. Ideally, when this situation happens, you really don't want that because the lead remains the same, you know, at this point in time.
Yeah, Cypher just used sight down near machine gun to get that kill. So he's gonna, yeah, you can see it there. He's gonna want to pick up at least 1 or 2 vials on the map. And this map is unique as they only have 5. There's 2 at the platform there at quad. And then there's 3 at what's termed banana, like where the health is at the curve near LG. And at the time that he used it, if he doesn't pick up any, he won't have it before the power-up comes up. So they won't have that intel. But if he does, they might be able to turn this around and at least get this quad and have a fighting chance, because they've cut it down to a 10-point game here, so...
They've done a good job of bringing it back, and right before the squad spawns, I believe we have Virtuspro on comms to find out how these guys are going to plan for this power-up. Oh.
Coming. He's already power up.
Dead. Garena gonna have it.
They're on A. I'm on class, on water. He's coming mega. No, he's T. TP, maybe? No. Mega. What mega?
Okay.
And 1 T.
Mega heavy should be soon. No. This.
I'll push.
I'm throwing totem. Up.
Was dead. Heavy is up.
Nice, got it.
As you can see there, that was a fantastic power-up for Sleep to Awake, and it's just going from good to absolute best at this point in time. It has not been a long round at all, and these guys are on the verge of having 10 frags away from winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I think the key to that last power-up was Avec pushed a little too aggressively to cut off Silence Up at Cubby, and then his own self-rocket knocked him down. And in that meantime, where he should have been holding position at quad and like just spamming and then fighting the guy that comes from rocket launcher, that side is the most dangerous side to deal with. And so he's down at the bottom and has to come up a jump pad, and then you have a stacked Claws there who, with his aim and positioning, like that's what won, you know, Silence Up the quad there, and then he didn't do anything too fancy. He just got full control of the map and is putting them in position now and to win the game.
And that right there, I think, is the similarities, but also like differences in Silent Sep and Claws, and that they both make these massive plays and these great decisions, these really fundamental things. But Silent Sep doesn't really do it with style. You know, he's a very, very efficient, very, very simple, but he just makes all the right decisions. Whereas Claws, whilst at the same time can do that, is just so brave and aggressive. I think they complement each other so well, and it's no wonder they're teammates in this tournament.
I definitely agree. Their play styles are very, very good for each other. They play, you can see that in Sacrifice, and it's carrying over here for 2v2.
Check out some Silent Sep, see if he can use the last of this protection. 3 more frags left to go, and it really has been the start. Actually, Claws rocket jumping straight in. I was going to check just in case there's something cute, but he did eventually die. Not that it's going to be a huge problem, because 2 frags left. These guys are going to take him out. One more at that matter, and Claws is up behind. This has to be a wrap, surely.
Yeah, that's it. You have the jump pad with LG. You're not getting out.
There we have it. Virtuspro are going to fall in this upper bracket to Sleep to Awake after a really, really impressive map number 1, but they just couldn't keep the ball rolling. And I think that's actually a testament to Sleep to Awake. 25 frags each. I mean, can anything else be said about how evenly they shared the workload there?
They made the adjustment. They played a little bit more together than they did on the previous 2 maps, and it definitely paid off. And Claws, that huge quad was the difference in the game. Like, that was the turning point Virtuspro could have had to bring it back, and Claws completely shut it down and enabled Silent Sep to get the control they needed to shut out the game. Like, even that last protection, if Virtuspro gets it, I don't think they're going to come back because of the spread that they created with the previous power-up and the plays that they made from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, the beginning of the game is an interesting one, because it goes to show in 2v2 how regularly, like, a bad start or a significant divide at the very beginning, even if you start to sort of like start pulling your weight or you start to play the way you're supposed to, sometimes it can be way too late. You know, sometimes I think the map can almost be if you keep playing the way you do, the map can be decided like maybe even halfway if the gap's big enough. But to be honest with you, I'm actually really impressed with Sleep to Awake.